For tomorrow. That's it.
That's certainly what you want, right? You want to avoid those losses. What would you say, though, is changed today compared to yesterday? What did you feel better with? Just more confident in yourselves?
No, I think we had problems with drafts. Yesterday we have bad priorities in heroes, and today we changed a lot. And yesterday, after we lost to Team Entity, we changed a lot as well. So now it goes much better for us.
Nice, so certainly worked out. You've got Boom tomorrow to start off with, though. Where would you put yourself in that game? Do you feel like you come in as the favourites now, considering where you're playing at?
Yeah, of course. We always think that we can win any team, so we're confident in our drafts now, and I think
Thunder Predators turn to ban.
Pick. 22. It doesn't make any sense to game without getting something back.
See? That's pretty smart. Liquid, seeing that Phantasm is out, will be smoking up to try to aggress themselves. They run into a Satyr, and Mickey just can't help himself. Just too delicious. Yum, 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 yum.
That's right.
Does he not have his shard? I guess he doesn't.
Nope.
It's a little surprising. Is he Echo Saber now? Okay.
He's going for it. Yeah, he goes back for the Echo. What if he goes for the Blink first or the
I wonder if
Shard?
he's going to go for Midas at 26 minutes here.
There's multiple ways of eating those creeps.
So how much do you think that this Earthshaker pick is because LGD is picking it with success? If they hadn't picked it with anybody else,
no. This is like a scrim thing. I mean, this is just like the Storm Spirit from the previous tournament. Everybody was shitting on it when Bulbo was picking it, and then it becomes top tier hero, even in like the finals, other than like Enigma. Yeah, it's a meme, but it means that it's probably working in scrims. You know, we're watching from this outside spectator point of view. It looks bad in the games that we happen to have seen it, but it's probably going very well in scrims, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, I should. Based on my limited time with the team, there's sometimes you still pull stuff out that did not work in scrims, because you know logically this is a good pick. You might not have confidence in it, but sometimes you pick it anyway.
You're basically saying mistakes are made. You do sometimes you do.
I don't know if that's a mistake. Like maybe you played it poorly in scrims and you know how to fix it, but you just haven't had time to correct it necessarily.
Or you think you know how to fix it, and you
Right.
actually haven't had enough
This
time
is where
to correct
hubris
it.
comes in. Like
Yeah.
you can be overconfident in both ways, right? You're doing really well with the hero, or the opposite, really bad. As Mickey
that net worth. LGD probably have a good idea of how to deal with this, considering they just went against it. To got him down this game around.
That could be a way to respond to that, although you don't generally see PA as a bristleback counter. That could be a way
That's
to
fair,
respond to
John.
that, although you don't generally see PA as a bristleback counter. That way
That's
to
fair,
respond to
John.
that, although you don't generally see PA as a bristleback counter. That way
That's
to
fair,
respond to
John.
that, although you don't generally see PA as a bristleback counter. That way
That's
to
fair,
respond to
John.
that, although you don't generally see PA as a bristleback counter. That way
That's
to
fair,
respond to
John.
that, although you don't generally see PA as a bristleback counter. That way
That's
to
fair,
respond to
John.
that, although you don't generally see that way
That's
to
fair,
respond to
John.
that. Sap can take care of that fairly quick.
So that's a Quinn specialty right there, that Void Spirit.
Can take care of that fairly quick.
Speaking of, by the way, going back to the LGD draft
that's
for a
a
moment,
Quinn
John,
specialty
the
right there,
Dazzle
Void
being
Spirit.
picked up by
Can take care
LGD
of that
always
fairly
reminds
quick.
me of, by the way, going back to the LGD draft for a moment, John, the Dazzle being picked up by LGD, the low cooldowns, and Faith Beyond's the guy I always remember when it comes to that offlane Dazzle. The low cooldowns. Back at eHome, back before LGD came along, picked him up.
10 seconds
Oh, those were some
remaining.
funny days. Those were great.
Yeah, the Necronomicon.
5
It was also like a
seconds
Midas
remaining.
pickup, wasn't it? Like,
Sometimes.
sometimes, yeah, that was something that it also used to lose a lot. So I'm glad that's just
It did.
You know what? If it did
did.
lose a lot, maybe you should bring back Necronomicon, Mike. Bring it back. Play that
It's
offlane
not a-
Dazzle.
It's not about the Necro this time, John. I'm just saying it was a previous meta with Dazzle. That's all
It
I'm
was.
saying. Yeah.
It was fairly funny to see that in 50% cooldown, but bad juju changes kind of take out that fun. Sonics with a Weaver here, so that should be, I mean, could be a support
one, at
Weaver
least for
coming
the
out.
early
Wouldn't
stages.
mind that too much. Minus armor playing with a Bristleback is great. The hold of LGD for a Weaver isn't particularly amazing. They don't have anything like the Blink Dragon Tail. Blink Avalanche is still effective. Then you've got the follow-up Silence on the DP. Shard on the Dazzle can help you out, so there's enough to punish the Weaver. But at the same time, and that could still just be a pause 4 Weaver, a pause 5 Weaver coming out here for Sonics to kind of flex around. So still fairly open. They don't need to commit that onto Leslau for the offlane. And LGD, they still need like a big core to play with the Dazzle. Something that will enjoy the Shallow Grave. Considering
Quincy
Sonics with his
Cruz,
draft,
turn to ban.
they're lacking control. And they do pick up the Kunk this time around with the X back, so relocate save's not going to be as big of an issue with LGD now, as the Kunkka should be able to hold one part of the equation down, and is a natural Silver Edge builder as well for some break on the Bristle. Mid lane matchup against Void Spirit is fairly good here for LGD. They will gun for that mid Kunkka. You tend to just have a great time as the Kunkka up against a Void Spirit anyway for the most part.
Oh, certainly so. Not a bad time whatsoever, if it is going to be the mid Conquer, but certainly feels that way, that's for sure. Rather have the
Quincy
offlane DP in this,
Cruz,
this
turn to ban.
circumstance, I think, for LGD. Final banouts, though, to come, Jonathan. It seems like both, or rather, LGD need a pause 1, Sonics, maybe more so about the offlane for Leslau, assuming it's going to be a position 1 Bristleback coming out once again for Yawar. Leslau, again, last game around, doing God's
10
work on that
seconds
Dragon Knight.
remaining.
Any particular heroes you'd like to see Leslau pick up, and maybe
5
even a
seconds
carry for
remaining.
Arme, Jonathan?
Still fairly open for the carry of Ame. The Terrorblade ID you mentioned, Mike, still works out because of the Dazzle. And being held down is not going to be as much of an issue. Still fairly open for the carry of Ame. Just underway. So I like the Terrorblade response there.
PSG LGD's
Honestly,
turn to
PA
ban.
could still work if they really want to go weird. But as you mentioned, very out of meta hero. Probably not what you'd want. For Leslau on the offlane, you have a lot of options as well. You could look for a little bit more team fight.
10
but
seconds
Then
remaining.
again, you don't have anything to tie into that team fight anyway, outside of just
5
Bristleback
seconds
spamming all of
remaining.
his stuff on top of you and getting a lineup for the Swarm could still be effective. Mars plays pretty nicely into what they have on
Quincy Cruz,
Sonic's
turn
end if
to
they
pick.
want that. Although you would be picking a bit blind, not knowing what LGD's safe lane will be, so you might not get the best lane output here for Leslau.
Here we go, Sonics. Final pickup now. This will reveal how their draft's going to go. Do believe it is still the Leslau hero that needs to be picked up here in the offlane. This game around, he played the Dragon Knight and
seconds
certainly could go
remaining.
back to that if he really wants. It doesn't really feel like it
5
particularly
seconds
fits the
remaining.
draft this time around. Sonics,
PSG
maybe a bit more team
LGD's
fight to come with this
turn to
offlane pick. And they're going to go for the Dawnbreaker pickup. Fair enough. Even more sustained with an IO. That heal going to be pretty darn annoying to try and deal with.
I mean, you have 3 heroes that globally teleport in now, Mike. Relocate on 2, and then Solar Guardian on 1. Terrorblade does come out, as you pointed out way earlier there, Mike. And again, it's much more doable with the Dazzle, so Shallow Grave will allow Ame to sunder away.
I mean, it feels like comfort for LGD now as well with this draft, doesn't it, John? Like you've got a lot of heroes right now that we're really used to seeing LGD play.
Yeah, and go back to what used to work. I like the idea Sonics has, but I do worry about the fact that they might not have the easiest time dealing with a sustain from LGD, right? Like you've got the boat to stall out if Ame gets jumped and nothing to say is nearby. You've got the X to hold back some Yawar if he does get relocated away, or if you manage to find Leslau trying to get the Solar Guardian in, X him, and just drag him back. It's really a solid Kunkka game overall, and I think LGD has what it takes to kind of beat up on Sonics. But I'll be honest with you, Mike, I actually lean slightly towards Sonic's draft. I feel like, considering how they pulled off the last game, if they hit that same tempo, the same thing can happen. Like the Bristleback can still have a really good time, but I'd say this time around, LGD's fighting chance is a lot bigger. Like that Terrorblade hitting from a mile away, it's not going to be easy for Yawar to get on top of that and just do the damage he needs to do, especially considering that base armor you mentioned earlier on.
Yeah, and it's a lot about the Eye of Skadi timing as well. Like, you're against Io, Dawnbreaker, Bristleback. All these heroes hate going against that Eye of Skadi, and... Well, Ame TB, Jonathan. Like, it's this Terrorblade from Ame, it is not something to underestimate. Arguably one of his best heroes that we've ever seen, and let's see how this one goes. I'd say this is going to be a much harder matchup for Sonics going into game number 2.
Just to be clear,
considering how they went for game 1,
I don't mean it literally.
Yeah, that momentum, we'll see if they can ride it. Still, LGD, not to be dissuaded. One game ends up with a loss. Not a big deal for LGD. I mean, they're still top of the group stage, John. I'm not sure. I'm sure they're not too concerned.
Yeah, I don't think that even if they lose the series, they're still in the running for number 1 anyway. So yeah, they have the allowances to actually just do that. Of course, they wouldn't want to. You want to be running for number 1 anyway. You want to show just how scary you are and ensure that no one wants to ever play against you in those playoffs. Or if they want to play against you, that's just them wanting to learn. So we'll see. The comfort picks are looking strong on LGD. To be fair on Sonics as well, it feels like a lot of that momentum came from that really strong start for Quinn on the Winter Wyvern. It felt like that kit just worked out really well. Their single target control this time from Sonics isn't as amazing. In fact, their whole overall is kind of lackluster. It's only the Aether Remnant plus Starbreaker that they have to hold heroes down, so it's actually kind of scary for them to deal with this from LGD.
Leslau won't stick around too long. Just gonna back his way out, and another nice start here for LGD. 3 bounty runes to go their way. Ame, hands up, stickers down. Fada just slowly walking his Ame. Really wants to just get it in. Cute face of Sinkyu. Very, very cute man there, Sinkyu. Love to see.
Yeah, with that, we should start off with his top lane. Of course, Leslau on that Dawnbreaker, along with Fata on that Weaver, laning up against Y, and Ame on the Dazzle and Terrorblade. This one, it's a bit of a weirder lane for Sonics, and you already have that level 1 Metamorphosis coming out with a Poison Touch. You can run these heroes down. The synergy between Dawnbreaker and Weaver isn't that strong. Like, you can just Shukuchi and be annoying. There's no early sentry here from LGD to spot out Bata, at least on that further south side. They have a good ward up north. Man, they do manage to melt them down. I'm not particularly sure about what Sonics can achieve here. Like, there's just no real play. There's nothing to set up for Starbreaker. There's nothing to follow through for that. You have some synergy with the Swarm and the physical output of Dawnbreaker, but that's a little Terrorblade with a lot of armor anyway. It's not going to do as much to damage him down, especially when some stat items are up for Ame.
Absolutely. Mid lane, Quinn, nothing to say, going at it already. 6-6, very early, very even in terms of CS. There's nothing to say. Move in for the range creeper. We'll miss out. A CS lol moment there for nothing to say. This range creep's just so darn important. Quinn getting aggressive again here in the mid lane. The Kunkka's going to be fine. As bot lane, Yuan MSS against Faith Beyond and Sinkyu. We haven't really talked about too much yet. So far, going decently it seems for Yuan as Faith Beyond, Sinkyu pretty chilled out here. It's all about securing their own CS. They understand they can't do too much about this Bristleback IO combination. So they probably won't even try to secure your own farm and do it that way. Do with him later on. Meanwhile, mid, nothing to say again. Being harassed by Quinn, but is not going to drop. He's okay.
is fairly low, and Quinn already has a bottle, so a top up from Watering might allow him to just look for that final push onto Nothing to Say. As long as he lands his remnant. He's been fairly on point. Again, the Quinn special here on Void Spirit. Nothing to Say it's going to have to be a little bit careful, though he's going to be topped up by his own Water Rune. One Bracer up, going to be a little bit more durable. Second Bracer not too far off. And he is still keeping up in farm. Despite all the harassment from Quinn, Nothing to Say is at least finding his CS.
That he is. Again, this is a specialty pick for Quinn. I mean, that Void Spirit, he knows it like the back of his hand. Loves this hero. Nothing to say though on the Kunkka. They're even more experienced when it comes to the pirate himself. Is bot lane again. You are getting a little bit low here on the Bristleback, but it's going to be okay. You got the IO there from MSS. Plenty of regen available. As long as Faith Beyond securing his own creeps, he's more than happy with this. He just wants his XP and his farm up. Do you think he picks up a Spirit Vessel here for the side of it? In fact, hold that thought, because top lane, Y in trouble, is going to get first blood away. Leslau, very fire up, stick charge up, is going to walk from Arme. Espada is also going to be able to get away. Arme not able to secure either kill here top lane. And meanwhile, bottom lane, this Tiny, dropping rather low, but Xingqiu going to be fine to walk out. First blood the way of Sonics. Arme.
Great start, right?
Arme. Reflection does go down. Fada is going to be able to secure. Is that worth for Sonics though, John? It's a 2-for-1, but you found the TB.
I'd say it's all right. Yeah, you're not too upset about that trade. You are still putting a dent in Ame's farm. He's kind of struggling on this top lane just a bit, not as much as you'd expect. The off laners are definitely having a better time in this game in terms of CS. So yeah, you're doing the damage you want to do onto Ame while he's not quite geared up with the stat item. He's still very vulnerable to the bonus armor from the Swarm, and you just kind of want to leverage that. And that does mean LGD though. I do have a slight level advantage from that exchange. That should allow Y to harass out a little bit more, but they are actually really geared up here on LGD. Still 2 sentries on Y, just ready to go track Fata wherever he runs.
Again, chasing down Y here on this Dazzle. This time Leslau couldn't break the gap on the Dawnbreaker, so Y going to be okay to survive. Really watch their positioning very carefully here on the side of LGD, because top lane, it's just so dangerous when you break the gap with the Celestial Hammer from Leslau. Even as the TB, you just can't really take that much damage from this Dawnbreaker. It's Y. We did a little bit, but Fada is going to be there with the Swarm and forces him back away. Mid lane still such an even affair here between Nothing to Say and Quinn. Just 1 CS difference between the two. Very, very close matchup, and there's going to be an X out here from Nothing to Say onto Quinn, but it shouldn't really lead to much. A threatening X here for Quinn. He won't flinch, he's just fine on the Void Spirit. We'll just walk away.
Yep, this can be perfectly safe. Level 6s are up on both sides, so can get aggressive here.
Quinn seems like he wants to try and make a play. There is helping coming. MSS is going to show up. Let's go to the tether. There's Nothing to Say now. We'll be jumping. Got the boat out in time. Still Fada is also going to join in and Nothing to Say. We'll drop again as Fada immediately out with the tips onto Nothing to Say. Meanwhile, though, Leslau is going to drop top lane, so they do at least capitalize by finding the Dawnbreaker.
Yeah, they're getting something out of the side lanes with all the movement down towards mid. Unfortunately for Nothing to Say, he did try to TP out there, Mike. He's going to have to walk back towards mid. That's going to be a lot of time for Quinn to just build up. And for Nothing to Say, I mean, it's not as bad as the Zeus game, but still maybe not the start you'd want. Dropping those kills, dropping that 1 death over to Quinn. So Quinn just setting the tone of the game quite nice. Going to his Witchblade. Off the back of that, you are still happy enough on LGD for the space of Ame. Like, this Terrorblade is farming really damn fast, especially when you compare it to Ywar. Ywar's lane a lot slower in comparison to game 1, and he's just not able to do as much. So you're going to have to invest a little bit more on that Bristleback to hit its timings. Vanguard is up at 7 minutes. Pretty good timing still, but just doesn't feel as quick as it did in game 1.
Definitely a little bit slower, that's for sure. Faith Beyond has been doing a decent job here in the bot lane of just keeping up and actually outpacing the farm of Ywar. Still 3-3. Very slight net worth lead the way of LGD. Very reminiscent of what happened in game 1, at least for the earlier stages. Just a very even matchup between the two teams. Hot lane. More rotations coming out as Y. It's going to be there on the Dazzle now as well. They might try to set up for this this tier 1 tower.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Quinn.
under attack.
A couple of torrent there from the nothing to say, but won't mind. In fact, he'll jump right back in and give way more harassment back. Carrying the Lord here from Quinn. The bottom lane, it's going to drop here. Faith Beyond, he's popped the Exorcism. No saving it, no defense to come.
Yeah, and that's what LGD needs to play around. Just use that push threat coming out from Faith Beyond, open up the map more, ensure there's room for Ame to switch farming areas if need be. And so far, no threat onto Ame though. They're not really playing on top of that Terrorblade. Although Quinn is around with the Invis here.
He is. There are 3 heroes from LGD. They're almost prepped for this. Quinn, I think he was spotted underneath that sentry ward by Xinkyu there for a moment. Bait from LGD as Ame gonna get jumped. They're waiting very patiently, ready to protect Ame whenever. Quinn, Sunder is there, Leslau, he's the one to cop it, but he'll TP right out as Quinn, he just keeps moving in. Another actual step charge, Solar Guardian is there, so is the Shallow Grave, but Leslau, he's back in, Ame goes down the Starbreaker, into the boat, but Leslau, dropping low himself as Faith Beyond, is gonna join the team fight. A 1-for-1 so far, in the favor of Sonics. LGD continue to try and pursue and punish Sonics, but it's still going to be a favorable trade their way.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Ame. He opted the Sunder, I think, a lot earlier than they expected to, especially for Y. So he had the Shallow Grave ready, but saving play wasn't going to amount to much without the Sunder ready, and they're really happy on Sonic. So he put a dent on Ame just a bit, but he's not dissuaded. Has Metamorphosis, lining up for mid, lining up for a shot.
Trying with this tier 1 tower. Play. Into it as well. Gonna stop him with the Celestial Hammer. They go again, nothing to say. Let's get caught out there for a moment. It's gonna be fine to back off. LGD, very cautious here of Sonics. Say will pick himself up a haste rune. He'll be able to walk his way out.
Yeah, this is a lot of space Sonics is creating for Yawardo. Again, considering his slower laning start, he's got a lot of jungle to just sit in, farm up with his Vanguard to help sustain. And there's no one really stopping that from LGD anymore since after the laning phase. They've just been happy enough to leave the Bristleback alone, which can cause issues. Like, this Bristle will get super tanky. It is going to be a straight Ags rush for your war. No need for the Hood of Defiance in this game, and once that Ags is up, it's still the same story.
Yeah, Leslau gonna get caught out here, nothing to say. Nice X back into the boat. He's gonna be able to find the Dawnbreaker. Nice kill here for LGD. They have popped the Exorcism for this, so maybe they try to go onto that top tier 1 tower. They will.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Sonics.
Radiant's top tower
They are around, but not really in a position to try and defend until that ulti is gone. They are waiting patiently, but doesn't seem like they're going to be able to punish. In fact, now nothing to say. He did spot out Sparta. That'll be another one to go down for Sonics. It's LGD. Going for more now. Down at bot lane, Ame. He got caught out with the Shallow Grave. It's going to make it in time. Just in the nick of time to allow the Sunder. LGD. They'll keep going for more now. After you are with the relocate. Is there from MSS to save? Oh no, it's into the triangle. Nothing to say was waiting the whole time. He got MSS, but now he's the one in danger. Yawar will turn right back around. Nothing to say. Trying to outsmart the side of Sonics, but you got an IO, you give your Kunka away. It's not a good trade.
He had no backup. Faith Beyond too low on man to play. They catch out in queue.
They do. The Tiny gonna try to run. Ultimate Faith Beyond gonna help out. No actual step charges available for Quinn at the moment, but they may not need it. Q still gonna drop here on the Tiny as now Y shows up. Trying to save the day with the Shallow Grave, but he might be another death to go the way of LGD. But no, they want his courier instead. Let's accept the easier kickoff. A 6-7. 2K advantage still held by LGD, but it feels like anyone's game.
Still a really open, very even across the board. Almost every core from both sides is just pretty much equal in that worth. The only outlier is Leslau, who has had to sacrifice some farm in order to make some space for his team. And then build up into the shard, into the BKB should still be lined up for. LGD, they just need a little bit more onto Ame. You know, you might want the Manta style here, get a lot more stats. The Scotty timing you mentioned in draft is the key for the Terrorblade to really get going. And once that's up and running, should be fairly comfy on that Fogs 1. Nothing to say as well as inching towards his BKB. Has a good stack to clear out in the Ancients. So he's going to be extra durable. In front, he's not going to be as threatened by Quinn's kit once that spell immunity is going in. That cuts a lot of the burst of Sonics. They are reliant on Quinn just getting the stuns off the Remnant, getting the steps off, and getting to dissimulate. Not going to be something that Nothing to Say worries about once this full BKB is done.
Certainly not. It's still going swimmingly here for both sides, really. Top lane Q. He's going to be all right. You are not going to try and go for the kill attempt. Mid lane, GD, group up here, loves to try and find Quinn, and the X is going to be into the silent and the boat, so Quinn should drop and dance. Nice little bait their lane from LGD as they go for more now with the X's out. Onto MSS, they might just find an IO for their trouble, but a nice tether away will allow them to get out, so instead it's into the mid-tier 1 tower for LGD. Yeah, rather easy kickoff here for LGD, nothing to stop them, no defense to come out from Sonics as they're not really ready to keep fighting yet. So let this one go down. LGD looking much stronger than game number 1. We'll start looking for a bit more in that Radiant Triangle. You've got Yuar around. They won't make their entrance in. Yuar, by the way, getting rather close to the Ags, but again, it does feel slower than last game, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you remember last game, it's fairly quick, and he had Hood of Defiance on top of the Vanguard before the Yags. So definitely not as speedy here for Sonics. Although, wait.
Remnants out, Faith Beyond might just fight back with the silences there, but Leslie is there with the Solar Guardian. In the meantime, mid lane, Infana does die in the Weaver, but it's a better pick off once again for Sonics. Be able to try and settle that top tier 1 tower now. Well, LGD having a hunt around for Quinn. No blink up on the Tiny yet, so Shinkyu can't really break the gap, but Nothing to Say might find an X very soon on Quinn. But for now, they just kind of ignore each other. Quinn, a bit of a creep away from the Conquer. Enough for LGD.
Trading back and forth, and what we're seeing from LGD right now is just they're playing with their tempo really well. The key thing has been Fate Beyond shows up for a fight with the Exo, they go instantly for push. Quinn gets caught out here though.
He does. Okay.
Not fully committing. I think they'd really want to secure that kill with the DP sucks from Fate Beyond. I'm not gonna be able to really fully commit. Nice double damage room to find though. A nice pickup for Nothing to Say, and should allow them to play a little bit more aggressive. There is a ward guarding that entrance onto the high ground triangle though. Maybe not going to push their luck there, but now they could possibly get aggressive with that X here.
They may. Nothing to Say. Go for the X out on Safana. Quinn is around. Keep in mind, Yuan just picked up the Aghanim Scepter, but isn't there in time yet. Yuan making his way over now as LGD will continue trying to fight. There's your Ags reveal now. Often Nothing to Say, but they won't make the jump in. Not going too far as the X-Back into the torrent is out again, and Faith Beyond has the ulti up. Yuar, has he gone too far? Relocate was there, but cancelled by the Yule Scepter as Yuar. Still trying to fight, but Nothing to Say. We'll just keep rushing forward onto the Bristleback. They have the X-Back, and they do commit it as Yuar will eventually go down the Tidebringer here as MSS. Still trying, in goes Quinn, trying to salvage the situation, but there's no salvaging. Leslau, even coming in at the last moment, can they get anything for their trouble? Lauren is down to the Dawnbreaker. Nothing to Say. He'll be targeted by Quinn with the Shallow Grave. Is out. Leslau still going down. Full drop. still trying for the Kuka. Avalanche is out. Quinn, can he get it done? Finally finds nothing to say, but what's it going to cost Sonic? Him laid out. Won't be enough. Huge whip for LGD here in the mid lane. Sonics, they just kept trying to fight, kept throwing bodies at LGD, but it just didn't prove to be enough.
And that was LGD playing a 4 versus 5, Mike. Ame was just sticking down bot, pushing out that lane, getting a lot of damage done onto the tier 2, and just keeps farming up. LGD with a very comfy lead now, 8 to 14, 7k up. Around the same position we saw Sonics in the last game at around this time. But definitely finding a stronger start here for LGD, taking control of the game very early on. Ame with a full manta up is feeling a lot more safe as well. He's got the stats to just not be instantly bursted down, and might be gunning for that Scotty you mentioned earlier on. So a smooth ride up for Ame, everything kind of lining up, and we are seeing issues with Sonics. Like for Sonics, it really just boils down to this one thing: they really lack control. Like it's all down to Quinn. It's on him to get an A2 Remnant and maybe bait heroes in for the Solar Guardian into the Starbreaker. But beyond that, you're not holding any of these heroes down from LGD. We will start from the Roshan. The war does hit fairly hard, but LGD are aware this time.
Up in, Quinn, nothing to say. The Kuka, BKB'd up, but copying a fair bit of damage, but what a big toss up here from the Tiny. Bana, he drops. Quinn, he'll go down as well. Face beyond, just chasing Yawar. Relocate, barely gonna save the life of the Bristle. Roshan is open up at LGD. They'll move their way in. Ame will get right to work. They even found an IO with the relocate back. Roshan will be no contest for LGD now. They wipe out the side of Sonics. No way for them to try and counter this now.
Damage up for their bomber is high enough to get the stun. And it just boils back to that again. Sonic's control is just lacking. They couldn't kill off nothing to say. The Grave saves him in time. They turn around and find all the kills they boils back to that again. Sonic's control is just lacking. It's just so much pressure to put on. Grave saves him in time. Like, turn around, find all the kills. Boils back to that again. Sonic's control is just lacking. It's just so much pressure to put on. Grave saves him in time.
Very low. Great wide. He's gonna save the day once again. It's will at least find the dazzle face beyond now. Seemed like he may jump. Tower is hitting away. They can't get this fight going. LGD somewhat managed to fight back, but it still seems like an overall win going the way of Sonics.
They just managed to take control really well. They isolate Ame, leave him for last. They know Metamorphosis is down. Didn't manage to have any presence with his 2 lives, unfortunately, as Metamorphosis just faded from that Roche fight. And LGD just didn't have the follow-through. A bit staggered in the initiation, and Sonics just run down and managed to make it work. As that fight extended, of course, the nasal goo just piled on. The bristle was just constantly sustained, losing. I can say meant that he didn't have that great way of holding down the IO to take away that sustain. And LGD swing it a little bit back Sonic's way. Sonic seeming very pleased with themselves. No Aegis to help secure Ame. But I think the play now for LGD is just have Ame farm until the sky. They were forcing it just earlier on with the Aegis, but now it's just back to farming. And if Sonics don't hunt down Ame, they're gonna have to contend with a massive spike coming out from that Terrorblade soon, as I can say we'll even find a tier 2 bot to the little room they were given out here.
Yeah. 22 minutes in, 12 to 20 now, but an 8K advantage the way of LGD. It hasn't been the smoothest game in the world, but it's going for LGD here, and as you can see, 86%, or rather 88% the way of LGD for now. Certainly, you'd have to agree with that. It just feels like Sonics have kind of missed their timing with this Bristleback draft. Big smoke up again here. LGD not done. The rush is 4 towards the top side of the map. Might run right into Quinn. Get the high ground advantage. ThinQ gonna jump in. Avalanche toss is there. They've got the silence. They'll have Quinn down. MSS couldn't get the relocate in time. And now that'll mean the IO should drop as well.
Yep. Just a little bit of a freebie. Not the biggest deal in the world. Still more kills to go the way of LGD. High five out from MSS. MSS just, showing off the hand. Not gonna get it reciprocated, and then LGD off the back of that, and from a 6K lead, bring it back to 9K. So they kind of compensate for that earlier loss. Ame, one part away from the full Scotty here, Mike. And at that point,
Radiant's top tower
I
is
really
under
don't know if
attack.
you have enough to handle Ame at that point. Like, he could just go for a BKB afterwards. That fixes pretty much all of his issues, and he's just going to be free to dance around in the middle. From top, no defense.
Now, we'll catch him. Avalanche is there as well. Yuan, though, is going to show up. Mode will be thrown out by Quinn. He'll jump as well onto the tiny ThinQ. Going to be survived by the shallow grave. Yuan will keep going now, nothing to say. Trying to fight back here, but here comes Ame on that Terror Blade, and he's terrifying at the moment. You've got to run if you're Sonics. They can't force this fight. Yuan gonna get X'd up though. Brought back by nothing to say into the loving arms of Ame, but Leslau gonna try and zone them out. We'll force them back on the side of LGD.
Invisibility.
The same barely surviving on the Kunkka throughout that fight.
Yeah, playing on Knife's Edge. Lots of back and forth, no one really losing anyone there, but it does feel like LGD committed far more. The pop BKBs, they used most of their big spells. Metamorphosis is now down on Ame, doesn't have too much time left in it. Just back to the farm game for him. Scotty will come out in the next few seconds, though, although Sonics are just going to look to push while they know some of those BKBs are down.
Get done. Mid lane. X is out onto the Dawnbreaker. They get caught in the tiny. And will eventually going down here to Sonic, so it's not a bad start. Keep in mind, he doesn't have buyback available on the tiny, so it might open them up a little bit for that mid-tier 2 tower. The lines are being drawn up towards the top tier 2 tower, so they'd rather go for that, secure outpost, and maybe play for the next Roshan if you are the Radiant team. GD, they'll just sit back and wait for their tiny to respawn back up. The Sonics, it should be a free tier 2. I doubt there's a defense coming. And if there is, well, LGD might get cut off here by Leslau. Poke. Won't move forward yet. Go now, LGD. Slowly creeping up. Metamorphosis is on cooldown for Ame, but they are going to go for the X into the boat, onto MSS to get started. A very nice pick-off. In fact, that's going to be enough because the Sonics, they're not really all there. Quinn and Leslau, they ran down towards the mid lane, and that tier 2 tower is going to remain defended.
Great defense coming out from LGD. Finding the equation that kind of carries Sonics through that. Sustain from MSS, take him out, and UR can't really hang around the area as well all by his lonesome. So LGD, hold on. 11K still up. BKB coming next for Ame. Sheepstick coming out for nothing to say afterwards as well. And once you do have that additional control, things start to line up. Patreon did use his earlier BKB charge to not the biggest effect, but still has an 8-second duration on him. And ThinQ is going for the value Lotus Orb. So you will have some ways of helping your teammates out here, preventing them from just getting run down with the control. For Sonics, Quinn is inching towards his ag. Still 2,000 gold away though. But once you have that AoE silence, it could force some preemptive BKBs to be used. And then you can just kind of go backwards here on Sonics. Wait for it to fade and re-engage. LGD though, going for a smoke play.
They are. He once again aggressive here. Quinn seems to be the target down the bot lane, and they should have the jump perfectly. Runs right into the tiny. He just gets blown up completely. LGD now knowing the Void Spirit is gone for another 45. We'll move on to the high ground, it seems, through the bot lane, and they have met it this time around if Arlington wants to pop it. He might just wait to see if the fight is going to break out first. Finn, and again with that buyback like we mentioned, John, so this is going to be a free racks to go the way of LGD. Well, they can't really go for mid racks because there is still the tier 2 mid tower, but a massive win for LGD. They will head into the mid tier 2 tower very soon.
Radiant's middle
Gotta
tower
have that
is
creep
under
wave
attack.
catch up though. And EXO should fade by the time the creeps make their way down, but we'll try to rip through it. The backdoor is gonna sustain smoke up from Sonics though.
There goes the mid tier 2. Taking that. They are still going to try. Moving in onto Army. Focus down the Terror Blade, but he's willing to fight back. Scotty up onto the Bristle he goes. MSS trying to keep the Bristle back alive. In the meantime, though, Prana is going to drop the Weaver as they continue going. Yuwa will be able to run away, but now with the meta pop, LGD certainly going to go back into the mid tier 3 tower. Probably the mid racks as well. They do end up finding the Void Spirit. Quinn? Yuwa? How do you salvage it now? Arme, after MSNS, has got the IO down. Mike Quinn still has no buyback available in this Void Spirit. There's a very rough defense to come here for Sonics. Onto the mid racks they go. LGD, suddenly 2 racks is up, or maybe even mega creeps.
They don't have that much time left in the meta, so maybe a bit of a slower process, but just without Sonic just doesn't have that jump potential.
Oh, they're onto the Bristleback and they've got him. Yuwa getting called his pants down. Lesnell even going for a run towards the north is going to get caught eventually. No way out of this one. No buyback available on him either. Onyx, how do you defend now? At least they've got Quinn back, but it's still a 4v5 scenario without their Dawnbreaker. LGD be happy to move in. There goes Sinkyu onto the Void Spirit Quinn. Look how fast he goes down. He just barely get up, but no, nothing to say. Cleans him up. That's the GG call being made. A draw will be forced here, and LGD will take game 2 in 29 minutes in a much more convincing fashion than, say, game number 1.
They come out with stronger comfort here on LGD's end, going back to some tried and tested staples. And for Sonic's part, you know, they try to go back into that IO, they go into the Bristleback once more, and Quinn on his special Void Spirit was making some work happen, but there was enough play there from LGD. It wasn't a completely shut out lane for nothing to say. He had a lot more to bring out there. Unlike his Zeus game where he was way too far behind early on. I have to say, you really
Spirit's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Dazzle.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Team Spirit. Face the light. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Spirit's turn to battle. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Spirit's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Spirit's turn to ban. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Spirit's turn to pick.
Wind Ranger at your service.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Spirit's turn to pick.
Zeus.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Faceless Void.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Spirit's turn to battle.
Beastmaster.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Team Spirit's turn to ban. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Spirit's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Axe.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Storm
You may now
Spirit.
select your heroes. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Huzzah!
Prepare for battle.
New school. Huzzah!
Thirty seconds to battle. The battle begins.
First blood.
Wow.
First blood. That's what happens when Axe gets his hands on you. Denied. Denied. None for you! Huzzah!
Radiant's courier has been killed. Radiant's courier has been killed. Radiant are scanning.
Shadows, take me. Pity.
No.
You didn't need that.
Bounty.
Dire structures are fortified.
Man proposes, God disposes. Marked my territory.
That was unexpected.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Shadow wave! Double damage! No! That hurt me a bit. Please fail me! That's all it takes.
Take my advice? Stay dead.
That should help! You get nothing.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant are scanning. No.
A soldier's death! I free the beast in me. Knock you back to the stone. What have we here?
Where's yours?
Invisibility!
Yes, bounty. Scanning.
Death Fist! Stupendous! Here I am! Zip! Dazzle!
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Here I am! Over here now! I'm over here!
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's top tower is under attack.
The jungle has everything Axe desires.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen.
Denied!
Online video game with real people and can't pause it.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
To the face. Our Beastmaster fights you.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Dark fades once more.
You get nothing! Good day, sir!
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Whoa, what'd I miss?
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire are scanning. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Thanks.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Touché! Let the fuck loose!
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
You're a sediment. Stupendous! You had your warning!
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire are scanning. Radiant are scanning.
Struggle!
Dire's top tower is under
I've seen this in my dreams. I was right!
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Regeneration.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Even I like a good ball.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Zap! Looking for me?
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire are scanning. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant are scanning. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen.
Regeneration. Zip zap. Dazzle. Huzzah!
Radiant are scanning.
Over here now. I've been wanting this.
That should help.
Are scanning. Radiant structures are fortified. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Haste! Zap!
You're not going anywhere.
That'll be a bitch.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Bounty.
Your song has fallen to the Radiant.
Stupendous! Whoa, what'd I miss? Oh!
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Come and get it!
Radiant are scanning. Dire are scanning. Radiant are scanning. Are scanning.
Told you a storm was coming!
My shadow lost.
I learned a lot from serving
That's me,
truth instead
bitch.
of life. But in the end, I was still made to hit things. Have you learned your limit?
Dire's bottom
Just
tower
warming
has
up.
fallen. Dire's bottom tower. Dire's bottom barracks are under
Over here now!
Accept this offering.
I almost feel darkness.
Talk about moving.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is falling. Dire's top barracks are under attack.
Let the fun begin!
Dire's top barracks has fallen. Dire's top barracks are under attack. Dire's top barracks has fallen. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire are scanning. structures are fortified. Radiant are scanning.
Huzzah! Looking for me?